You are now watching People's Opinions on Popular Topics.
Well, to be honest, not really right now.
Frogger, I hear, is the latest when I listen to the radio.
Yeah, he's definitely out.
I started the 7th of last month protesting.
Hi, how's it going? Oh my lord, that is a...
Yeah, 5.5 pounds.
Holy crap, is that the catch of the month?
What's that?
It's a nice catch.
Yeah, thank you. It's actually caught that last night at 9:15. Couldn't believe that. Took my rod out for about 20 feet. I ran out. I won't tell you how I was dressed. But yeah, it's 5.5 pounds, 28.5 inch.
Yeah, that's a nice fish. I bet you can't wait to dig in.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing this weekend. Yeah.
I'm just doing a video on the community,
Yep.
and I already had an interview with Big Al and Al.
Yeah,
I was wondering if you had time to sit down and
sure.
just, okay?
For a long, long time. I personally have been coming here since I'm about 7 years old, before there was even a possibility of pulling shacks on. I mean, we used to carry panels of plastic and 2x2s, put them together, one small plate of tin to put the wood stove pipe out so it doesn't melt the plastic. And no floors, no nothing, just a wood stove and plastic roof. And back in the days, we used to catch on the average 17, 18 pound pikes.
Sounds like you think things have gotten, the fish aren't biting as much?
No, but in February, the pike tend to lose their teeth.
Yeah.
If you noticed that on the one that's there, it's starting back to grow in the back teeth and the front teeth a bit. So they may start to bite now.
I didn't notice, but I will check that out on the way out.
Yep.
Let me throw this right there. So, what's your first name and where are you from?
I'm from Orleans, Ottawa area, basically. And my name's Réjent, French. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I basically spend the winter here.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So, how long does it take to get heated up with the wood stove?
It's not a wood stove.
No?
It's an oil stove.
Oil stove.
Yeah, it's a space heater.
Yeah.
It's called a space heater. Back in the days, they used to have these in homes, and they were called bouncing furnaces, because once the wind would get in and it would really heat, they would bounce on the floors. So dancing furnaces, they were called. But I've got two setups here. I've got the oil rig, this one, and I also have, if you look here, this is propane. This is a furnace of a trailer.
Yeah.
So I have the thermostat on the wall. So I turn that up, let's say, to 15 degrees. If this should happen, the wind blow it out, or I run out of oil while I'm sleeping, as soon as it gets 15 or below, thermostat ignites the propane. And it just keeps me at least at 15 degrees in here, which is plenty. You know, when you're ice fishing, you're always somewhat dressed.
Yeah.
Keeps you warm all the time. And I got the stove there that comes out of a trailer also with the oven. Got everything here that a house has. Got the TV, got the Wi-Fi, got the... eventually the satellite dish is going to go up.
Wow.
And because now a lot of us are thinking of going, I don't know if you've seen Al. He's on a cement dock. A lot of us are thinking to go that route because it's year-round instead of just the winter time, you know.
Yeah, that would seem like a good idea.
Oh, definitely.
And it can't be too much money to pour a pad out here.
Well, the pads could be a little costly to begin with, but I mean, look, it's yours afterwards.
Yeah.
You can't carry it out, but I mean, it's a house on water. No tax, no nothing.
You just pay the whatever they want for you to be hooked to the adjustable docks. I don't know if you noticed over there, they got pipe at the beginning of where the shacks are.
No, I didn't notice.
Okay, so what this does is that all these docks are floating docks, right?
Yeah.
And as the water level rises, so will the docks and the cottages.
Sorry, keep going. I was just looking for something.
And that's why there'll be a fee to be hooked to the main dock, which are held by post.
Yeah.
And also has the ability to go 7-8 feet up with the water. If it rises again, we won't be flooded because the dock will rise with the pipes.
Ooh.
And it's a very, very nice setup. Like, I mean, in 2017, we flooded here. And my shack was on shore. And Al's shack was on shore. Big Al's.
Yeah.
Okay, he's the Petrie Island Fishing Association
Head honcho, president.
He's president of that Petrie Island site. And we flooded 36 inches of water in our shacks.
In this shack?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I stripped 4 feet right down to nothing, extended 6 feet, and rebuilded everything. And now the more it goes, because you know there were issues that it says it's the Hydro-Quebec. They opened their dams because they wanted the hydro process for their plant. Therefore, it flooded here, and we couldn't open Carillon because it would have flooded Montreal by 15 feet. Mm-hmm. So we had water levels here. And you seen the store when you came in? Well, that year, the store was always on the other side in the summer, at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. That had 2 pipes of 20 feet. By the time it was said and done, there was 2 feet left. That's how high the level went here.
Wow.
We can come down the road, you know, the top of the hill, mm-hmm. a little more than halfway down, you dock your boat in the street, and you go anywhere in Petrie Island by boat.
No.
That's how high the water came here.
Wow. So you've been fixing up a little bit every year, eh?
I built it. It was an 8x10.
Yeah.
In 2013, and in 2017 we basically flooded, and then I redid everything that summer, added the 6 feet, and slowly keep chipping at it and making the finishings. As you can see, I'm not quite done, but it's getting there. I mean, yeah.
You were telling me that before we started the interview that the fishing wasn't as good this year.
No, for me it was great.
Okay.
I mean, I've been catching tremendous. I go out to walleye at the point because it's current water, and this is no current most of the time. Mm-hmm. The current, especially when you come out of the bay, that's where it gets tricky. That's where you got to measure, be cautious on your ice, because current will eat the ice, and it could eat it in a matter of hours. So you can have 20 inches one day, 4 hours later you go back, you're down to 18 inch. Or 16 inch. And we've seen that in the years. That's why nobody tends to go out there with fairly shacks or vehicles anymore. We've lost a man one time because of his a shack that was being pulled after the year that we had 18 degrees and 19 degrees. You don't come back on the ice. It's not solid ice no more. And like I tell people, ice that cracks is music to your ears. If it don't crack, be careful. That means it's giving. It's not cracking. If it cracks, it breathes. It freezes underneath. But ice that don't crack, I've seen here standing at many years, and the crack would just go right between my legs, this wide open. That's music. A lot of people fear that. No, I crack that ice that cracks is safe ice. It won't give. But if it doesn't crack and you're passing by with a vehicle, that means it's spongy. At any moment, it could let go. That's because the weather got too hot, the water rises too much, it can't carry, it doesn't crack anymore. There's no cold to, it's like a cement block. A cement will crack but will not fall apart. But if it doesn't crack.
Could you give a moment to remind people the safety, what you need to do to be safe out on this ice?
What you need to do is, if you don't know, ask somebody who does, number one. And most of us here been here for a long time, and we could tell you, don't venture with a 3/4 ton truck and past the point of the bay where the current is, unless you know your ice. And when I mean by you know your ice, you know the thickness, you know the kind of ice you have. As you drill, you see it. You know, when you first begin the year, then you got the snow piling on top. Black ice is what you want to see. And right now, if I was to take my long spoon there, we've got over 27-inch of ice here. And out of that, you've got maybe 6 inches of white, like grayish white. After that, it's dark black. That ice will carry anything. I mean, a 27-inch, you'll never go through. You'll be driving and you can hear the cracks. You'll hear, sometimes I'm sitting here at night, no vehicles going by, and it just cracks. That's music. It's safe. Ice that cracks like that is safe.
So that pike you got out front, is that the biggest catch of the year so far?
Well, from what I understand, it looks like it might have been, because we had a big derby
the whole
here.
Community?
Well, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But from what I hear, the guy that won the derby this year was Sylvain. He's the one at the front, basically just in front of the store. He's the one that takes care, pull off the shacks for the owner and bring them back on, So he's the one that does a lot of the maintenance here, let's say. And he caught a 5-pound, 27.5-inch. Today, I caught a 5.5-pound, 28.5-inch. But it's not Derby Day. But he won $500 on that day, It just happens to be.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. Like, I eat the fish that I catch. A lot of time, little perch, I try to release them if possible, because sometimes they swallow the hook right down to their tonsils, and it doesn't matter what you do, it just can't be released, But the average here, 2-3 pounds is on the average. 2.5, 3 pounds, 3.5 pounds. That's what you catch. When you catch one that size, and once in a blue moon you get that 15, 17 pounder that'll swing by, or out here I've caught a 7.5 pound muskie, which is a small muskie if we're talking muskies. But walleye, I went to the bay, I caught a 3.8 pound walleye, which is tremendous. It's perfect eating, it's beautiful fillets out of it. Pike that size, I get fillets out of that about this thick on each side,
That's pretty good.
And we fish with minnows, we fish with jigs, you fish with anything you think that might attract them, is what it is. It's patience, and sometimes it's the jigging, sometimes it's the distance between your lure and your sinker, or your hook and your sinker. It depends on the depth. You have to try multiple different things. And then suddenly, bang, bang, bang. So far this year, out of everybody in this area, they're telling me I'm blessed. I must have caught 15 pikes in here, 30 perches, and some almost 3/4 of a pound, and a lot of baby perches also. Walleye I've caught, my best one was like 3.8 pounds, and a couple pounders, 3/4 pounders, and we have an ethical thing that if we catch females, we tend to let them go, because they're the reproduction, right? Same with the pikes. If it's a female and you could see it, you let them go, because that's the reproduction. Our theory is to, female lay eggs. Lay eggs, well, reproduces the fish. So everybody ethically, they catch it, take a picture, put it back, live release, especially if it's a female. And I think that it's more and more, it's getting more accepted by people. Mind you, there's always the odd ones that, hey, I caught a fish, I never caught one, I'm going to eat this one. I mean, that happens. I mean, they're allowed.
Yeah.
But ethically, we try to, make conservation a part of this village, I call it. It's like a little village here.
Yeah, I call it that too. How many holes do you got on the go?
How many?
How many holes?
2.
2.
Yeah, 2 lines per person.
Okay, that's the limit?
That's the legal. Yeah, oh yeah. If you got more than 2 lines, that's in the winter.
Yeah.
Summer, it's 1 line each.
Okay.
But in the winter, you're allowed 2 lines per person. As you can see, the previous holes, that's because I got a 4-year-old grandson who comes on weekends sometimes. Put 2 lines for him. And he's actually, that line over there is his. And this one over here is mine. The one that you see at the other end, that's my 4-year-old's grandson. That's his line. So even though he's not here, I'm allowed 2, so I put his line back in the water, and I put mine. And he's actually did me good because he caught more fish with his line than I ever did with mine. Yeah.
Do you want to tell me anything more about your shack and the community?
Well, the community is 99% very friendly. As you can see, you talk to Al. You see that P-foot sticker in the window on here? That's PIIAF, Petrie Island Fishing Association. If you're ever up here and you're stuck or you need help, anybody that's got a sticker like that basically is there, knock on their door, and if there's anything they can do, they're going to help you. Like you've got a flat or you can't get to shore for some reason, go to anybody that has that sticker. The theory is when they give you that sticker and you pay $2, it's just to let people know if you see a sticker that says PIIAF and you're jammed or stuck and you weren't doing crazy stuff, because we had some people do some crazy stuff back in the days. Now it looks like eventually there won't be any vehicles allowed here. They want to try this guy. We're doing it this year because normally I put on my shack, take out my shack. This year we pay them, they take it out either with the tractor or one truck, to eliminate. Where it made a difference is on Derby Day, because Derby Day we had outsiders other than the village that would come and join the Derby. So sometimes you might have had 100 vehicles here, 150 vehicles, trucks. They wouldn't go through, but the weight brings up the water, and therefore floods all the roads, floods all the lands, unless you do what I do. As you can see the cones there. See, I build cones from get-go. When I fish, I pre-drill always the same holes. So therefore, every time I drill, the water comes up. Well, whatever made hard, it stays there, so it makes a funnel cone. After a while, it gets a little hard to get through because you're losing 8-10 inches of possible hogger blade, right? But anything that goes by that has weight, when they're pulling off shacks, the water's bouncing, but it doesn't come over the hole and flood my whole area, Yeah. So I try to tell people to do that, like find your holes. At the beginning, try, blah, 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 blah. Try it here, try it there. If you find a spot that you catch once in a while, well, it could be a good spot. So keep drilling that spot every time you come. And therefore, you're going to build that hard funnel. And that hard funnel prevents the water and the weight from other shacks and other vehicles or whatever has to come in, I've never flooded once.
That's good. Well, I have a feeling you're good at this stuff.
And like I said, shacks here... it's a very well-watched community. I don't think I've known anybody that had major theft or break-ins or damages to their shack or, this is where it makes a big difference. Like you go to Rockland, there's nobody there. There's nobody watching. There's no cameras. People have those 2-bit cabane with a little wood stove made out of a barrel. They fish. They don't even lock their doors because they're going to get smashed in if you lock the doors. It was the same thing back in the days up in Britannia, like Britannia Beach. It was the same thing there. There was never anybody with. Like you can get there one day and somebody burnt your shack. Here everybody keeps an eye. There's always somebody here. The gates are closed at 5. There's cameras that watch what comes in, what comes out of those gates. The only time is like from the road, then there's nothing you can do. Like people come up with their skidoos, but they're all people we know. Most of them. Everybody knows everybody.
What do you think about the new rule where vehicles won't be allowed on the ice?
Well, personally, I think, to me, if you know what you're doing, there's no problem. But it's for the people who don't know ice, don't know current, don't know the river. Like, that's where, like, over here, what you got is when you go out here, if you look on the right-hand side, that's the 17 highway, right? If you look over there, there's a cement culvert where water comes out of there. Well, when the season that of melting starts, all the salts they put up in Fallingbrook on the streets and everything else, well, it comes down there and it dishes out here. So when it comes out there, all that salt is going to eat that ice real quick. That's why you got to keep an eye. You got to, you know, where your current. If you fished here for a long time, you'll know where the current is, and you'll know what depth. Like, I've seen it. I've witnessed it myself. Like, I've seen, if there's not 9 inch of ice, black ice over there, I won't even go there with my four-wheeler. That's a fact. Like, you don't want to go there if there's less than 9 inch of ice.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay, we're going to change topic now.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite news source?
My favorite news?
Source.
Do I want to answer that one?
CFRA, CBC?
Well, usually it used to be, well, when I'm at home, CBC Morning Live.
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch Angie Poirier and all that back when they were sitting. Now it's a little bit different. It's not as, you know, as what I used to be with them, but that's who I would listen to. CRA on the radio if there's no TV.
Who is your favorite news anchor?
I'd have to say the one that quit on Morning Live there, the oldest one.
Mansbridge?
Hey?
Peter Mansbridge?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
A couple years, like, I think it's a couple years now he's gone. He retired, actually.
I think it was Mansbridge. The old guy?
Yeah, he was old enough. He was on Morning Live show with Angie Poirier and the other one there. There's another girl there. It's been a couple years, and my memory's not that great.
Oh, it's okay.
You
know? How has the lockdown affected you positively?
A little bit hard, but this, like you could see, we're very social distanced, and we very, very limited while the lockdown was in. Nobody, strangers, would walk in each other's shack. Like, you know, they'd open the door, talk to me from outside. We kept a safe distance because we don't want to get nobody sick. They don't want to get us sick, you know. My family would come, and then they would go, but we'd stay with our own little group of personal in-house family. It's the best thing to do because we don't want to spread it, and we definitely don't want to catch it. So that's what it was. Now it's starting to relax. Everything's open again. Restaurants are open again. But if you see that there's too many people, we'll just walk away and come back at another time, you know. And here they really, like our tournament that we had this year was really restricted because we've had multiple people at that tournament every year. This year, because of COVID, they allowed 100 and nobody gathered in one area. So what they did is anybody caught, you brought the fish, they measured it, took a picture with you, and then they'd post it. So everybody knew what was going on, what would happen. So nobody was in gathering, and they allowed 100 people to join the derby only. And only 70, I believe it was 77 or something that joined that derby this year. And it still turned out great. It's for CHEO. It's for CHEO Hospital. And I contributed for me and my grandson because he's the one that fishes the most with me. 4-year-old. And you can't keep him out. You can't keep him in here. He wants to go outside. He's behind his grandpa, step for step.
Has the lockdown brought families closer together?
Well, in my case, it's basically same thing as before because we always pretty much stick together and, do things together. In the summer, we usually go out in Crown Land fishing up in Trout Lakes, up in Danby, Dacres. That's behind Renfrew on the 41. We do all that. We always tend to stay our group together. You know, it's the way we do it. I personally don't think that the COVID has stopped us from doing our regular things. At one point, they were saying that you shouldn't sleep in your hut. I don't know why, because you're alone. You know, that part was a little bit. You know, why would they say that? You're still alone.
Sorry, I think I'm out of battery. It'll just take me a minute to change battery, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
It's going great. You're giving a great interview.
Well, if I can help, I appreciate it. And if I could tell people that this is the place to do it, man, because this thing is, from what I understand, it happens up in the BC and Toronto.
What happened?
These docks with shacks here on the docks, on cement docks.
Yeah, and what's really cool about it is no one owns the land.
And
So,
nobody, exactly. And, you know, like he said, if you wanted to take a vacation, right, your dock could disconnect from that dock, and he can pull you out. Yeah, he can pull you out where you want to go, anchor you there. You want to spend 2 weeks out in the middle somewhere, you know.
You slice that open. So my battery's in there, so don't stab it too hard.
Not a problem.
This-
Do they come new like this, or is this...
No, I wrapped it because I'm paranoid about damage. I thought it'd be faster to open. It's the first time I've had to change batteries.
Oh, so I'm a big talker.
No, we're only at 7 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my longest is 16. Yeah, Al was around 10, normal.
What's that?
Big Al was around 10-minute interview.
Yeah. But like I say, I recommend everybody to do this, and especially if you have kids, because kids today, they don't do this stuff.
They don't do anything.
And my grandkids, man, they're out here every chance I get to have them. I encourage my wife to bring them. My grandson, I got 3 grandsons and 2 granddaughters.
Mm-hmm.
And I intend to make them all go through this just like I did when I was a kid, instead of being in front of a TV and playing the computer game all day.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, that's what they do. You know, and he does it. But what I got is he's young, he's 4 years old. And for the last 2 years, he's been following me step by step. If you see this 4-year-old, you'd be amazed.
He wants to be like his granddaddy?
Exactly. And he comes here, I go outside, he takes the spoon, cleans the holes, checks, pulls up the line, like, you know, with his fingers.
Yeah.
Sees there's a minnow underneath. Yeah, okay, minnow's still there, prepare, puts it down, and he's 4 years old.
Wow.
I never even thought of doing stuff like that at 4 years old, but I got him really early. Even purchased him a 4-wheeler in October, a brand new little 125 cc's. He can't drive it alone until he's 10.
Yeah.
But you put him in front, his mother in the back, or my Barb in the back, his grandma, sits there, he'll drive, and she just makes sure that he doesn't get out of hand. But the one we bought has a kill switch.
Oh, like remote kill switch?
Remote kill switch.
Oh, wow, that's...
So as she's going, she's got the kill switch in her pocket.
Mm-hmm.
And she's holding on to the steering, and sees if he tries to turn, or no, Reggie, you know, blah, blah, and he looks at her with a laugh with his helmet on, eh? He just looks at her because he knows, he just likes the throttle, eh? And the adjustable of that throttle, it may be lucky if he goes 8 miles per hour, you know?
Yeah.
And if he gets crazy, my wife just presses the kill switch and it stalls the motor right there. And then remote restart if you want.
What advice would you give to young people in Canada today?
I'd advise to take their kids and do this. Because, you know, my grandpa and my uncle that I fished with, right, my whole life, they said, you give a man a fish, you're giving him dinner. But if you teach him how to fish, you're giving him dinner for life. And I believed in that. And I think every kid should experience this. They should love to do it. There's nothing wrong with the fish. I mean, there might be a season where they say, okay, E. coli is big. But when you deep fry something, it doesn't matter what's in there. It's done. There's no E. coli anymore in boiling grease or frying them.
Mm-hmm.
That destroys any bacteria or anything that'll get you sick. I've been eating this fish in this river since I'm old enough, I think, to speak. I mean, I've eaten catfish in the summer, big catfish, barbuts. The difference between a catfish and a barbut, a lot of people don't know the difference. Do you know the difference? A barbut has a tail square like that. A catfish has a V-tail. And they look alike, they got the same mustache, just the barbuts get a lot smaller than the catfish. But a lot of people don't know the difference. But a square tail is a barbut. When you peel it, it has that purplish colored meat. As for a catfish, when you peel it, is as white as your pad.
Tell us something interesting about yourself most people don't know.
About myself that most people wouldn't know.
Forget that question. Tell me a funny story that happened in the community here. Has to do with you.
What's that?
A funny story.
A funny story. Okay, I'll give you one. See, I don't have a name on my shack yet. Everybody has their name for shacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was baptized the tip-up shack. And the tip-up means, the old-fashioned way to fish were with outside tip-ups, right? It's a stick that goes like this. That's a tip-up, right? Means that it tipped over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in 2014, when the previous owner owned the land here, we took out my shack. It's built, there's snow everywhere, so everything looks level. So when the summer comes or when the melt comes, then you see that your shack is standing like this, right? So you got to level it to make sure that it doesn't get all crooked or loose, So that year, well, I didn't realize that I was in that kind of a ditch where my shack was sitting. So I had 3.5 feet on this side of blocks underneath, and I had a 2x4 on this side. Okay, it was pretty awkward.
Mm-hmm.
When it came winter, and they're getting ready to put on, and back then we used to carry shacks, everybody would help everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pulling everybody, but it's getting dark, and I'm thinking, I gotta get my shack on there. Well, Lord behold, just before dark, we're cranking it up right in the middle like normal. Start taking the blocks off. And for some reason, my 8x10 started to shift.
Uh-oh.
And it shift off the jack paddle. And it went bang on the floor, bang on the side of the wall off the ski, and then slowly motion just bang on the side. And I thought, oh my God, what happened here? Brand new shack, it's less than a year old. I had a 30-pound propane tank and never went through the window, never went through the door. The only thing it damaged is the corner of that area of my shack because it hit part of the rocks that were on the bottom. My face changed and I got the name Tip Up because I tipped my own shack coming off the jack, okay? And that was one of the funniest things. And then a buddy of mine had a little trailer, and he had a really small shack. It's 4 feet by 8 feet, but it was on wheels. And the leaf springs, instead of being underneath the axle, it's on top. So it made it that much higher. So I'm pulling it with my four-wheeler, and we're going to Walleye. On our way back, this time of year, a little bit of meltdown, because it's not heavy. It's in a 4x6, 4x8, right? So I'm coming on the road there that you see on the other side, and there's a puddle there. Okay, so I'm normal. I'm not going to go in the snow because it's melty. It's because I'm gonna sink. So I got the wheels on the buggy and I'm going. I got my four-wheeler. I hit the hole. Well, guess what happened? It went sideways. And I thought, whoa, there's a big hole there. But it looked level. It looked like there might be, 3 4 inches of water. Suddenly it went sideways, and then it started to rock. And I'm thinking, oh no. So I hit the gas, and as I hit the gas, it hit it just as it went this way. Well, guess what that became? Tip up number 2. So now they said, you need to put tip up on your shack, because you tip 2, not 1. And if you ever build a shack to go to walleye, call it the tip up 2. So that's one of the stories that, it sticks with you.
This is how I end out the interview. I call it the penalty box, and I'm just going to ask you quick questions, and I want your quick answers.
Okay.
Walleye or perch?
Walleye.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Favorite TV show?
Hey.
Favorite TV show?
Cowboy movies.
If you had to choose a last meal?
Walleye.
Your favorite toy growing up?
Tonka truck.
Favorite sport?
Hockey.
Sweet or salty?
Hey.
Sweet or salty?
A little bit of both, but yeah.
And your favorite sports star?
Sports star. That would be my baby sports star. Edmonton Oilers, Wayne Gretzky.
There we go. Well, I'm going to end it there. Thank you very much.
Absolutely no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
That is my longest interview because I look at this, we're at 26 minutes. 34 now.
Now, is this going on TV somewhere?
No, not on TV, no.
In a book or in a...
No, I just have my own little...
collection?
No, I'm like, I go down to Parliament Hill every day and I interview people. And I was getting desperate for interviews, so I put on Kijiji. I'm looking for interviews, and this guy wanted me to go all the way out past Arnprior to sit in his shack with him and talk. And I said, there's no way I can get out there. And then he's like, you got to come check out this Ice Fig Village.
Absolutely.
So that's what brought me here.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to see that you came. And I hope that this eventually gets to people's ears. And I hope that they do it safely, but mainly bring kids.
Yeah.
Bring the kids to do this. They got to.
Yeah.
I do summer fishing. I do winter fishing. And I think no kid should go a lifetime without doing this as a kid.
Yeah.
It molds them.
What do you think if when we go outside you check your lines?
Yeah, I can do that.
And I can film you.
Yep.
Okay.
Like I said, they haven't been biting very well, but last night at 9:15, now that the camera's off, I was sitting here and I was getting ready to go to sleep, right?
Yeah.
So here I was in my underpants, and I got here and it caught the corner of my eye where this line here just went down almost in the hole.
Oh, this is the pike story?
That's the pike that's outside, yeah. And I never caught one at that time of the night. Because normally I don't fish, but I knew it was going to be mild. So I thought I'd leave it to, maybe by morning there'd be half an inch of ice that I can break with my bar instead of have to re-drill. And I got the surprise of my life because it got the corner of my eye and I looked and the end of the rod was in the hole. And he took about 10, 15 feet of my line out of my reel. And then I ran out. I ran out.
I bet you did.
Yeah. See, the holes they start to freeze, right?
Yeah.
Especially on a day like today. This started as a 10-inch hole 2 days ago. With me opening it with my bar and then cleaning it with my spoon, it's now maybe 6 inches wide. It's still good for a little bit of fish. See, it's still got the minnow. So, not much alive, but sometimes it don't make a difference. It's always better if you have something that moves, it attracts the fish that much quicker, right?
Yeah.
But the one that you see there
Well, my minnow must have been on there for about 6 hours. And then suddenly, bang, I'd come out, check, break the ice, you know, check it out. And that's what came on at 9:15 last night. And I was very happy camper to take it out.